Hello and welcome. This yoga flow is going to focus on shoulders and the muscles of our upper back, around our shoulder blades and in our shoulders. As a society, we spend a lot of time with our shoulders pulled forward, driving, typing, texting. So I want to focus on opening up across the front of the chest and really strengthening the muscles across our upper back and shoulders. We're going to have the option to use a blanket, and we will be using a yoga strap. You don't need to have a yoga strap. You can use a scarf or a belt, something that's maybe 4 feet wide. Let's start in child's pose. So come onto your knees. Take your knees wide to the edges of your mat, toes touching, and sink your tailbone down towards your heels. Bend your arms. Put your one hand on top of the other and rest your forehead on your hands. Take 2 deep breaths here. Really deep breaths. Feel your ribs expanding as you breathe in and contracting as you exhale. Then walk your hands wide up to the front of the mat. Really engage all the muscles in your arms. Maybe your forearms lift off the mat. And then walk both hands one step over to the left and feel a stretch in your entire right side body. Maybe feel a stretch in your ribs, maybe up through your armpit into your upper arm. Keep sinking your tailbone back towards your heels. And walk your hands back to center and then to the opposite side. So your hands go one step to the right and feel a stretch in your left side body. Take 2 deep breaths here. Really notice what that feels like as you breathe in and out. And then bring your hands back to center. And from here, bring your hands towards your head and press yourself up. We're going to come into a tabletop pose, and we'll be on knees for a few minutes. So I like to put a blanket under my knees, just a little bit of extra padding. You can use a towel, anything you have at home. In tabletop pose, spread your fingers wide, press into your knuckles and fingers. Check that your hips are directly over your knees, your shoulders are directly over your wrists. And from here, what we're going to do is just some motion using all the muscles around our shoulder blades. So notice as I do this, I'm not bending my elbows. I'm going to lower my torso down and then press back up. And by doing this, I'm using all of the muscles surrounding my shoulder blades and my upper back. Don't bend your elbows, just lower and then press up. Lower down, press up. Really feel all of those muscles engaging around your shoulder blades. Keeping your elbows straight. Don't lock your elbows out. Put a little micro bend in them, but don't use your elbows to lower your torso down. You can also do this against a wall. You can do it leaning into to a desk or a couch or a kitchen counter. This is a really great way to strengthen the muscles around your shoulder blades. Meet me back at center. From here, we're going to do what's called Bali Seal. This is going to use all the muscles in our core, our legs, and work on getting some motion going in our shoulders. With your knees still hip width apart, tops of your feet to the mat, go ahead and sink back into child's pose. And then bring your arms by your sides, palms up. What we're going to do is, staying on our knees, we're going to use our leg muscles in our core to raise up as we sweep our arms up overhead. So inhale, bring your arms up. Keep your hands in your peripheral vision. We're nice and slow here. And then come all the way back down. Use your core to pull yourself back down. Bring your arms back down. Take your right cheek to the mat. So again, really slow. Inhale, arms up, hands in your peripheral vision. And then exhale, use your core and your leg muscles to lower down slowly. This time, take your left cheek to the mat. Inhale up. Exhale down. Right cheek to the mat. Inhale up. Exhale down, left cheek to the mat. Now center your forehead and just let your arms go completely limp here. Let your shoulder blades relax. Let gravity take your shoulders towards the mat. Maybe feel a gentle stretching between your shoulder blades. Then bring your hands to the mat by your head. Press back up into tabletop pose. We're going to come up into downward facing dog, so spread your fingers really wide. Press into your knuckles. Tuck your toes under. Maybe take your hands a little bit forward. Toes tucked under. Press your tailbone straight up towards the ceiling. Remember to keep pressing into those knuckles. Alternate bending your knees. Bend one, then the other. Really feel a nice stretch in your shoulders here. Press your heart towards your knees and your gaze is back towards your feet. On an inhale, walk your feet forward to the front of your mat between your hands. Hold on to opposite elbows and just sway side to side here for a moment. And put your hands on your shins. We're going to inhale to a half lift, so a nice flat back. Glide your shoulder blades down towards your tailbone. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees. Circle sweep your arms up. Inhale. And then back down to mountain pose. In mountain pose, our feet are hip width apart. Shoulders are slightly back and down. Create some space between your ears and your shoulders. We'll do 2 sun breaths here. So inhale, circle arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Go ahead and put a bend in your knees. Inhale to a half lift. Flat back. Glide your shoulder blades down. Exhale, forward fold. Keeping your knees bent. Inhale, circle sweep arms up. Overhead. Exhale, down to mountain pose. Another one. Inhale, circle arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees if it's more comfortable. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend knees. Inhale, circle arms up overhead. And exhale, back down to mountain pose. From here, what we're going to do is work on some motion and strengthening the muscles around our shoulder blades. So we're going to come into chair pose for this. In chair pose, your rear end is going to go straight back. So I don't want your knees going forward. I want your rear end going back. Take your hands at heart center right here. Feet and knees both hip width apart. Look down and make sure that you can see your big toes. From here, circle your arms up overhead. So settle into that chair pose. We're making our legs work here too. And we're going to take our arms down really slowly. Resist the motion into goalpost shape. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then back up. Again, back down. Really resist that motion like you're trying to pull a really heavy weight. Make sure your neck is just in a neutral position. Push those arms back up. Exhale those arms down. Press up as if you're really resisting against a heavy weight. Last time, bring those arms down into a goalpost shape. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and back up. And then go ahead and come up to a standing. If you had a blanket on your mat, go ahead and move it out of the way. We'll inhale, circle arms up, and then exhale them back down. Take a moment, roll your shoulders, reverse direction. Big breath in, and then on an exhale, step 1 foot back. So you can come into low lunge or high lunge here with your toes up. Check that your front knee is not going beyond your toes. Your shin should be perpendicular to the mat. If this is not comfortable for you, you can lower that back foot down into a warrior 1 pose with your heel to the mat and your foot at about a 45-degree angle, whichever way is comfortable for you. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale as you bring your hands behind your back. Clasp your fingers. Try to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Think about bringing your elbows together. Maybe do a baby back bend here. So very gently keeping your neck neutral. Arch your back. Chest open towards the spot where the corner of the wall and the ceiling meet. And then release that back bend. Take your elbows and bend them and bring those fists, fingers still clasped, towards the hip of the leg that's behind you. And then take that same ear down to that shoulder. So in this case, my left leg is back, my hands are clasped on my left hip, and my left ear is towards my left shoulder. Take a deep breath here. Really feel that stretch through your neck and the top of your shoulder. Release that. Release your hands. Come both hands down to the mat, framing that front foot. And then plant the opposite hand that your foot is to the mat and lift the other arm straight up to the ceiling into an easy twist. Release that hand back to the mat. Shift your weight to your front foot. Go ahead and step forward. Hang here for just a moment. Hold on to opposite elbows. Bend your knees. Sway side to side. And then very slowly ragdoll all the way up. Your head is the very last thing to come up. Roll out your shoulders, roll out your neck as needed before we do the opposite side. We'll take a big inhale, circle arms up. Exhale, arms down. And then step back with your opposite foot. So options here again, high lunge, up on your back toes. Check that your front knee is not going beyond your front toes. You also have the option to drop that back foot down into a warrior one foot position with your heel to the mat and your foot angled out at about a 45-degree angle. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands behind your back. Clasp those fingers. Try to squeeze your elbows together, open up across your collarbones. If it's comfortable for you, baby back bend here. Think about taking those arms away from your body. And then come back to center. So whichever foot is in the back, bend your elbows, keeping your fingers clasped, and take those fists towards that hip. And then the same ear down towards the same shoulder. So in my case, everything is on the right. My back foot is on the right. My fists are to the right, and my ear is bending down towards the right. Release that. Take both hands to the mat, frame that front foot. The opposite hand to that front foot is on the mat. The other arm is going to lift up into the air. Easy twist. Release that hand, shift your weight towards your front foot and step forward. Go ahead and hang in ragdoll again here. So let your head fall heavy. Let the crown of your head just fall down towards the ground to gravity. Sway side to side. On an inhale, put your hands to your shins. Come into a half lift. Glide your shoulder blades down your back. Exhale, forward fold. Bending your knees. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up. Overhead. And exhale down. Now we're going to use a strap and do some shoulder stretches. You don't need a strap. You can use a scarf. You can use a belt, as long as it's about 4 feet. Take the strap wider than your shoulders. Inhale your arms up overhead. Take a breath here, just kind of settle into this stretch. And then on an exhale, you're going to just do a side bend towards one side. So you can let the strap just passively hold your arms, or if you try to pretend like you're pulling that strap apart, trying to rip it into 2 pieces, it'll add some resistance to that stretch. Take a breath. Come back up to the top on an inhale, and then exhale to the opposite side. So again, you can let this be kind of a passive side stretch, or you can activate all the muscles in your arms and try to pull that strap into 2 pieces. It'll intensify the stretch. Inhale up. Now take your hands a little bit wider, and we're going to take our arms behind us and then up and over and in front of us. The wider your hands are, the easier it will be on your shoulders. If you have any pain with this, don't do it, just skip this part. Big breath in, and then on an exhale, take that behind you all the way back so that the strap is going to come all the way down towards your hips. Inhale all the way back up. And then exhale as you come forward, strap down towards your hips. Inhale up. Exhale backwards, all the way down. Take your hands wider if you need to. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Last time, inhale up. Take your hands all the way back. Go really, really slow here. Really enjoy that feeling of opening up across the front of your chest and your collarbones. Last time, inhale up and exhale forward. Go ahead and drop that strap, scarf, whatever you're using. We're going to come down to the mat now and just do a really passive, lovely stretch. So however you want to get down to the mat, go ahead and just lower yourself down. I like to hold on to the back of my thighs and just lower my back all the way down. Legs out long, arms up overhead, really stretch. Feel a stretch in your belly. Pretend somebody's trying to pull your fingers and toes in opposite directions. And then bend your knees, soles of your feet to the mat, and then pull both knees up in towards your chest. Give them a squeeze. Maybe roll side to side if that feels good for you. And then extend your right leg long. And your left knee, give it a hug towards your shoulder, towards the outside part of your ribs. And then with the opposite hand, you're going to take that knee across your body. And the other hand is going to go out into a T, palm up. The goal here is not to get this knee all the way to the mat. The goal is to keep both shoulder blades rooted into the mat. I'll lift this arm up a little bit just to show you what I'm doing. But have your hand just resting on the floor, palm up. From here, look away from that outstretched arm if it's comfortable for your neck. If not, just keep your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to make one-armed snow angels with this arm. So your arm will be on the ground. I'm just raising mine up so you can see. We're going to take that arm up overhead. Feel a stretch in your ribs, maybe in your armpit, so you can make these snow angel shapes down and up. If you find a really nice juicy spot, you can just stay right there in that stretch. Breathe into this. I want you to take 3 deep breaths here and just notice what sensations you're feeling. Notice where you feel a stretch, probably in your hip, but also think about your ribs, your armpit, your shoulder. And then go ahead and gently release that arm, release that knee, give it one last hug, and then we'll switch sides. So bring the opposite knee up, give it a hug, pull it up towards your shoulder, towards the outside part of your ribs. And then with your opposite hand, take that knee across your body. It won't go all the way to the ground. Keep both shoulder blades to the mat and extend that arm. If it's comfortable for you, take your neck in the opposite direction. So look away from that extended arm. And again, here we're going to make those snow angels, palm up. You can take that arm, sweep it across the floor, up overhead. Bring it back down. If you find a spot that feels really good, you can just stay in that spot. Otherwise, you can keep up with the snow angel motion. And again, here, take 3 deep breaths. Just notice where you feel a stretching, where you maybe feel some opening. And then release that arm, release that knee. Bring both knees back into your chest. Give them a squeeze. Roll side to side if that feels good on your low back. And from here, I invite you to just come into final relaxation in whatever pose is comfortable for you. You can have your legs extended long, arms to your sides if that's comfortable. I like to keep my knees bent, so I take my feet wide to the edges of the mat. Let your knees fall towards each other so your legs are in a pyramid shape. And I'll ask you to put your hands on your belly. We'll take 3 deep breaths together. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. So wherever you're at, press all the air out of your lungs. And then inhale, starting with your belly first. Fill your belly, ribs, chest, all the way up into your collarbones. As you release that air, relax your feet, relax your legs and hips. Another deep breath, fill belly first. Pull air up into your ribs, all the way up into your collarbones. As you release that, relax your hands and fingers. Let your shoulder blades just melt into the mat wherever they're at. Last deep breath, fill belly first, fill ribs, collarbones, pull air all the way into your neck. And as you release that breath, relax your forehead, relax your lower jaw, unclench your teeth. And then breathe at your own rate, whatever feels comfortable for you. And I invite you to stay here for as long as you'd like. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you very much for meeting me on my mat.